corruption. It's like a sneaky thief in the night, silently robbing societies of progress and potential. But today, we're going to tackle this weighty subject with a twist. Imagine the world of corruption as a comical soap opera, full of absurdities, awkwardness, and consequences. In this video, we'll unravel how corruption crumbles economies, diving into real-world examples from Africa and the Philippines. Oh, and don't worry, it'll be factual and eye-opening while keeping you entertained. Let's set the stage and embark on this comic yet thought-provoking journey. Picture corruption as a sly cartoon villain, tiptoeing around with a giant sack labeled public funds. It represents the misuse of power for personal gain, stealing money and opportunities meant for the many and handing them to the few. Now, why is corruption such a big deal? Because when money meant for schools, hospitals, or roads vanishes into the pockets of the powerful, everyone suffers. Everyday citizens lose services, businesses struggle to grow, and governments spiral into debt. But don't just take our word for it. Let's dive into our first case study, Africa. Welcome to Africa, where corruption has turned many hopeful projects into bitter jokes. Imagine this. A new hospital is announced with great fanfare. There's a groundbreaking ceremony, politicians give long-winded speeches, and the media takes photos. But fast forward a few months and nothing. The space turns into a desolate lot with a lonely signboard that reads, "Hospital opening soon." What happened? Corruption. Massive sums disappear into private bank accounts with no one held accountable. It's a sad truth wrapped in absurd irony. For example, Nigeria alone loses an estimated $18 billion every year to illicit financial outflows. And it's not just hospitals. Roads stay bumpy, schools crumble, and businesses find it nearly impossible to thrive in a system riddled with bribes and favoritism. Picture a businessman dodging potholes, shouting, "Who gets my tax money? Oh, right, your overseas mansion." Foreign investors are no better. Many opt out of unstable markets entirely. Imagine an over-exaggerated comic ad. Invest in corrupt land, where your money disappears. It may sound funny, but corruption pushes nations into a cycle of poverty and lost opportunity. And yet the problem is far from unique to Africa. Let's turn our spotlight on another nation dealing with its own battles, the Philippines. Now, picture Metro Manila, the famously traffic-ridden capital of the Philippines. Cars honking endlessly, exhaust fumes filling the sky, angry passengers crying, "I would have been home last Tuesday!" But what if we told you this chaos isn't just bad urban planning? Corruption plays a huge role here too. Huge role. Many government infrastructure projects are riddled with overpricing, delays, or worse, unfinished work. Picture this. A contractor goes, "Here's your highway," while poking at two hastily paved lanes with cones blocking half of it. The real funds? Gone, thanks to bribes and kickbacks. Traffic congestion costs the Metro Manila economy approximately $13 billion a year, according to studies. Now, imagine that money flowing back into public transportation systems or clean energy initiatives. How different would life be? Instead, corruption perpetuates inefficiency and lost growth. But traffic is just the start. Corruption seeps into education, healthcare, and almost every aspect of life, discouraging honest citizens while rewarding the dishonest. Infamous cases, such as the Marcos regime's extravagant theft of billions, still serve as reminders of how systemic corruption anchors a nation's development. It's maddening, right? Yet the patterns in corruption are strikingly similar across different regions. Let's zoom out to explore these common themes. Strip away the names and specifics, and you'll see corruption follows a consistent script worldwide. Here's the formula. Funds vanish into select hands. Think of it as a magic trick with public money. First it's there, and poof, it's gone. Services like schools and hospitals are poorly managed. Citizens are left asking, where's the progress we were promised? 3. Corruption scares businesses and investors. Without a stable economy, no one wants to risk long-term growth. Now, let's make this personal. Imagine yourself in a tiny animation, Standing in line at a government office. You're hoping for a business permit, but the clerk mutters slyly, "You're missing one, unofficial payment." Many find themselves in these frustrating situations, forced to play along or lose opportunities. So what does this mean on a larger scale? Let's connect the dots. When corruption digs in, it creates a domino effect that hurts all areas of society. Poverty rises. Poor families can't access quality education, healthcare, or basic services. Inequality worsens. The rich use bribery as a shortcut, leaving everyone else behind. Potential is wasted. Nations lose innovation, productivity, and their brightest minds to countries with fairer systems. Let's humorously visualize this. In one corner, there's a land full of opportunity. In the other, there's Corruptville, where citizens shout, "We have potholes on our potholes!" The contrast paints a grim but necessary picture. But what would the world look like if corruption were eradicated, or at least minimized? Let's imagine that for a moment. Cue the what-if music. Picture schools teeming with children, hospitals healing the sick, and businesses thriving without bribes. What if funds meant for the people actually went to the people? In this vision, roads aren't just smooth. They're adorned with banners reading, "Built with integrity." Governments engage citizens in decision-making, and foreign investors flock to booming economies. Of course, this isn't a comic utopia. It's possible with transparency, accountability, and strong systems. Let's take this thought further and look at the ongoing fight against corruption. The fight against corruption isn't just a pipe dream. Some initiatives, both global and local, are paving the way. In parts of Africa, reforms are streamlining government processes, making it harder for funds to magically disappear. And in the Philippines, increased media coverage and citizen vigilance are exposing unethical practices. Success stories give us hope. For example, Rwanda's anti-corruption drive has boosted the country's reputation, attracting more international investment. While no system is perfect, these efforts show that change is possible. Now let's add a comic twist to this journey. Picture honesty and transparency as superheroes battling corruption. A bumbling villain with barely any tricks left. Slowly but surely, the superheroes gain ground, though not without facing challenges. Here's where you come in. Fighting corruption isn't just a job for governments, it takes all of us. From refusing to participate in bribery to holding leaders accountable, every action counts. Imagine a final animated scene. Citizens uniting to reclaim their stolen rights, standing together with banners that read, "No more excuses." Meanwhile, our cartoon villain, corruption, tries and fails to sneak away, muttering, "It was fun while it lasted." The message is clear. Corruption may weaken economies, but standing up against it strengthens entire nations. By fostering transparency, accountability, and citizen engagement, we can ensure that progress isn't stolen. It's shared with everyone. So stay vigilant, stay informed, and don't let corruption rob your future. This is one battle we can all win together. Fight corruption, build the future. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more engaging stories.